And that's why I was so excited when what's wrong with my lips today? When
Hot Soft Steve.
Yes.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down the Nakatomi Tower at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass.
Welcome back to Shat The Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we loved when we were growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental at Blockbuster Video? Do you know what Blockbuster Video is? If you answered yes, and this is the podcast for you, I am one of your hosts, Gene Lyons, and alongside me is my co-host, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And each week, we take a look back in time, decide if our favorite films still hold up. The movies we cover are chosen by you, the listeners, who generously commission the films you love. If you like to see all the movies we have covered, will cover, want to choose one for yourself, please visit shatpod.com and have a look. At the end of each podcast, we'll provide you, the audience, the number of wipes each movie takes to get off your respective butts. So thank you so much for listening. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend. It's how we help the podcast grow. Additionally, subscribe to our sister podcast, Shat on TV. Review TV series such as Westworld, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Lovecraft Country, and Watchmen. Find all our information and past episodes at shatpod.com/TV. And finally, if you'd like to hang out with us live, follow and subscribe to our Twitch channel, shatpod.com/Twitch, and our YouTube channel where we play video games, host watch parties, and edit this podcast live. All that being said, Big D, what movie are you reviewing today?
So, Gene, lately I've been doing like a math to describe the film to maybe our younger viewers or to explain what it is. I don't think I need that this week. This is a film that is iconic to those of us who grew up in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. The poster, the quotes, the memes, everything about this film is iconic. And that's why I was so excited when Hot Sauce Steve finally decided to commission and fill in the hole in our pantheon of Shat when he commissioned the iconic Adam Sandler comedy, Billy Madison. And he was kind enough to call in with a voicemail, as he likes to do.
Hey, Shat crew, it's Hot Sauce Steve calling in for my commission of Billy Madison. I commissioned it about a year ago, I believe, as I commissioned Happy Gilmore and The Wedding Singer. I figured might as well get one of his other really good movies, Billy Madison. I rewatched it sometime over the summer, and, it's not my favorite of his movies. It's still really good. I enjoyed it, got some good laughs, had a great cast. Great movie. Excited to know what you guys think of it. I can't wait to hear the episode in a couple weeks here. And you guys have a great day.
So listeners, if you're out there and you're an Adam Sandler fan, you could really thank Hot Sauce Steve for getting all the Adam Sandler greats in there, the ones that we remember from the 90s. Steve, after scoring Happy Gilmore half a wipe when we did it so long ago, I was really nervous to go back to really the movie that started it all for Adam Sandler's personal brand of comedy, right? So we saw it refined in Happy Gilmore. We saw a different take on it in The Waterboy, The Wedding Singer. I watched this movie, Billy Madison, ad nauseum as a teenager. And I was one of those dorks who also listened to Adam Sandler's They're All Gonna Laugh at You comedy CD while I was driving around as a kid. Road trips, after school. We put our fondest memories on the line here at Shat The Movies. And I got to tell you, the stakes couldn't be higher. I can honestly say this viewing revealed how much I've changed over the past 30 years because I saw this movie in a totally different light.
Until this moment, I had totally forgotten about the Adam Sandler, the comedy tapes. Do you remember, and this is a very different time to show you how risky they were, are we two guys lifting weights? Are we two guys having sex? And it would be like, oh, yeah, just stick it in. Oh, you'd be like, oh, that's two guys having sex. No, those are two guys deadlifting.
No treadmills or weights in here, just my balls.
Just, dick and balls. Oh, those guys are definitely having sex. Nope, just shoulder shrugs. Just working your lats. This is you got something wrong with you. Those tapes were hilarious. And I was excited because over the summer was when Happy Gilmore 2 came out. I happened to be in Boston with Vanessa, Emma, my sister. Her sons were in town. And the neighbor had said, we put up a screen in our backyard. We're going to watch Happy Gilmore 2. So we decided to watch Happy Gilmore. Emma's at the age where she talked her way into it. So I was like, all right, let's see what she thinks. She watched it, enjoyed it, even enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2. So when this commission came up, I said, Emma, you want to do another, I called him Happy Gilmore, an Adam Sandler movie. She said yes. So watching it through her eyes after the iconic, almost perfect, Gene, like you said, Happy Gilmore, I almost get 2 reviews, hers and mine. And I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I don't want to start with that. But this is a rough Adam Sandler. This is not the refined comedic genius or the Adam Sandler style or the equation that he would do. But it was really, really great to go back and watch it.
Well, Billy Madison is a 1995 comedy written by Adam Sandler and Tim Herlihy. The film stars Sandler in the title role alongside Norm Macdonald in his feature film debut. It tells the story of a wealthy but immature man who must repeat grades 1 through 12 to prove himself worthy of inheriting his father's company. Billy Madison debuted at number 1 in the North American box office and grossed approximately $26.4 million worldwide. Let's hit the trailer.
Here I come!
He's got the moves,
Are you some kind of idiot?
the look, the brains.
Oh, really, fool? Really?
But to get his inheritance, he needs a diploma.
I can do this if I set my mind to it.
Class, say hello to Billy Madison.
Adam Sandler,
Now you're all in big trouble.
Billy Madison.
You want some more of that? I didn't think so!
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, February 10th at theaters everywhere.
Billy Madison is a dim-witted, immature, and spoiled 27-year-old heir to Madison Hotels, a Fortune 500 company founded by his father, Brian Madison. Rather than preparing to take over the family business, Billy spends his days partying with his friends and causing chaos on the estate. After he embarrasses his father during an important dinner meeting, his dad, who is retiring soon, decides to hand control of the company to his conniving vice president, Eric Gordon. Big D, we talked briefly about the Adam Sandler CDs, which I can pretty much recite by heart. Same goes for this movie. It opens up and I realize I know all the words to the opening scene of Billy Madison, from the suntan lotion song to Nudie Magazine Day to It's Too Hot Out Here for a Penguin. But I did not remember Adam Sandler delivering all of those lines in a voice. Cajun man's son got hit in the head with an idiot stick. It's terrible. And I don't mind an affect. Like Bobby Boucher in The Waterboy, there's a reason for the way he talks. That's part of his character. Or whatever the fuck Little Nicky was. Like, he talked that way for a reason. But that's not what we get in Billy Madison. Billy Madison, he has a voice. Like, he has a voice that he uses normally when he's talking to Juanita, when he's talking to the janitor. He does this voice intentionally and then just drops it at random times throughout the movie. We don't really hear him talk like a person until well into the movie. There's a dinner scene where he's with his dad and suddenly he can talk like a normal person. And that is when the movie starts to get good.
You know, it's like I imagine when they were coming up with the formula for Coca-Cola. The first maybe 20, 30 batches were kind of shit. People were like, I don't know. What, you think the first ones were good? You think it was a hit right off the bat?
I mean, cocaine.
Okay, so other than Coke, let's just say something else. You're going to, Mom's Thanksgiving turkey. It was refined over time. And the Sandler formula, you can feel it's raw here. They didn't know how to harness or how to break this wild stallion, because we meet Billy Madison and he's introduced as usually what a lot of his roles are. It's the lovable idiot. It's the guy who has potential, the guy who never grew up, the man-child. And this man-child, Billy Madison, has too much money, too little sense. But for some reason, instead of focusing on that, Billy's an idiot, let's make him relatable maybe to the idiot brother we had or the cousin who wasn't successful. They throw in the hallucinating penguin right away. Why? It's immediately we meet the penguin. We didn't need a tuxedoed bird to show us that Billy Madison, who's driving a golf cart around the property, he's almost hitting all the landscapers. He's got his idiot friends. To me, it kind of took it out of a grounded film about a lovable idiot loser and put it into this weird realm where I was like, you didn't need this right away.
You're so wrong here, Big D. This is one of the best aspects of Adam Sandler's comedies. They throw in something unrelated and unnecessary just because it's funny. Why a penguin? We don't know. Why is the penguin so big? It's like a 6 foot, 7 foot tall penguin. We don't know. Why does Billy think the penguin is fucking his girlfriend? We don't know. But a giant penguin is inherently funny, especially when it's jerking off Chris Farley. There's no need to explain it.
No, but at least when we got these, whether it was Chubbs' ghost in Happy Gilmore or the alligator in The Water Boy, these characters that come out, they made sense to the plot. Here, right off the bat, I didn't need it immediately. You could have introduced them later on.
But that's the non sequitur thing he does. Like, Adam Sandler didn't invent the non sequitur, but he's the modern master of the art form. Like, think of the best moments in this movie. They had nothing to do with the storyline at all. There's that entire conversation with Carl and Eric where they're talking about delicious Triscuit crackers. Did you think that was funny?
Yes.
Sorry, it doesn't put the delicious Triscuit crackers in my stomach now, does it?
Well, that's a conversation this idiot Billy would have. I like that. Yes.
What about like calling the shit poop?
Yes, that was good.
He called the shit poop.
I'm good.
Yeah. That's quacktastic. Quack, quack, quack. Like, they're all just non sequiturs that make the movie better. And I would argue the best is that I'll tumble for you dance scene on the staircase. This movie is a movie of moments. As a whole, as a story, it's not that strong, but much like Dirty Work, you get these gem moments. It's almost a movie for the internet age. You can take clips of this and on their own, they're intensely funny. And I cherish those little moments. That I'll tumble for you dance scene, it has made me smile randomly for the past 3 decades anytime I'm on a set of stairs.
Dear listener, you may think that Gene has already run through the best quotes in these first 2 blocks. Not even close. He hasn't touched "Stop Looking at Me, Swan," or the whole "peeing your pants is cool" on Miles Davis, the sloppy Joes, that Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ass, O'Doyle rules, business ethics, you did the poop, chlorophyll, more like borophyll, or Today Junior. This movie has so many great lines, and they're so iconic. The I'll tumble for you. Yeah, maybe it's because I just hate musical numbers, but it comes out of the blue. Right? He's okay. And maybe that now I'm seeing your side of it, right? He's in a rush. He's decided his life is coming to an end. His dad's going to give the company to Eric. He comes down the stairs, and why I'll tumble for you, I don't know. But later on, I liked the big musical number. The big one at the end there with the "she has a nice rack." That one I liked, but until now, I didn't get "I tumble for you."
Generational difference here. Our age, I hate to tell you, Big D, those few years, they make a difference. And I'm just going to say it, and I'll be the heel of this podcast. I think that I have a younger, more developed sense of humor than you do. You like you referred to the stair thing as a musical scene and equated it with the musical scene that comes later in the movie and said that one is funny. No, it's so much funnier than the musical scene because that's overly produced. They put way too much effort into that. All I want, I'll tumble for you, it's a staircase and a soundtrack. It's funny because stairs make you step, steps make a rhythm. And you could just imagine Adam Sandler was going down some stairs one day and thought, hey, this is something. And exactly when it appears in the movie makes no sense at all. He's just there. The music is like breaking the fourth wall. It's coming from off screen. And he goes, oh, what's this? He hears it and he goes with it.
I do like your dissection of that scene. And you've read more into it than I guarantee you Adam Sandler put into it.
Well, I'm glad you're giving me that credit because I'm going to get the hate mail. They're like, how dare you say you have a more developed sense of humor than Big D? He's our friend. You're an asshole.
Yeah, I'm Billy Madison. I'm the lovable idiot.
No, you're not.
That's it. And you're my invisible penguin friend. That's what you are. Why'd you taunt me, Gene Lyons?
He's the mastermind behind the entire fucking like podcast and makes all this shit work. Let him keep playing the dum-dum. When Billy pleads for another chance, Brian reveals that he bribed teachers to help Billy pass school. The two strike a deal. Billy must complete grades 1 through 12, spending 2 weeks on each grade to prove he is capable of running the company. Billy returns to elementary school, where he gradually earns the respect of his classmates and third grade teacher, Veronica Vaughn, especially after standing up for a fellow student.
In the last few minutes, we've done a lot of Gene Wilder lately. And I came up with the idea that I thought Gene Wilder used in small doses is very funny. Mel Brooks, even less screen time. It's important to use them in small doses. You can't let's just say, what would be like a food? Something that is great on its own.
Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise is great, but you can't base a meal on mayonnaise.
No.
And here the strength is not Adam Sandler and Billy Madison. The chaos, yes, it surrounds him. It's building. It's funny. But the movie lives with the heartbeat of the small characters, the one-liners who pop in, say something funny, like the Sasquatch. That damn Sasquatch took the lunch and she leaves. You get the lunch lady talking about the sloppy joes. The old woman, the pee in your pants is cool. They're absurd. They're ridiculous. They pop in. And you don't know why they're there, but you spot them. And it's proof that Adam Sandler could spot the little character actors. I couldn't believe this was Norm Macdonald's first film. He lights up the screen. He's great. And I think that the film should have focused a little bit more on these guys because that's the heartbeat of the movie.
Shit, Big D. It's almost like the Penguin was one of those characters. Animals can be characters.
Okay, yes,
but I get your point here.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think maybe introduce the imaginary friend after the lunch lady.
but no, you're absolutely right, and it gives again Billy Madison a chance to be normal Billy Madison, who is a pretty funny guy. His reactions to things like "that's the grossest thing I've ever heard," or "Stop it, lady, you're scaring everyone." Like that shit is funny. The original casting that Adam Sandler wanted, Charles Bronson as his dad. And Bob Odenkirk as Eric. And that would have pushed this movie to like another fucking level. Can you imagine him going against Bob Odenkirk for control of this company?
I think that would be a great casting.
So good. So yeah, I agree with you completely there that he knows who to pick and he knows how to make the movie funnier by grabbing talent all around him.
Right. And I think that's why his career was long lasting. He found like all of his friends and he would bring them back repeatedly. If you got the formula in the end, it worked. But you've accused me in the past of finding abuse or abusive parents or sexual abuse of children in a lot of films.
And homosexuality.
Okay, I don't remember that. But I remember in Toy Story, I think it is logical to think that the neighbor, the crazy kid who tears apart the toys, was abused.
Yeah.
You challenged me on that. So I want to put this out there to listeners here. We meet Juanita, who is the Madison family housekeeper, right? She steals every scene she's in. Mostly because she looks like the lovable, like Aunt Jemima, the housekeeper who raised Billy for the wealthy parents. And she is thirsty for Billy like he is the last man on earth. Juanita's like, hey, Billy, you want to see these titties? She's not keeping it clean. She's not pretending. She's obsessed for Billy. She doesn't hide it a second. And I'm trying to imagine, like, she had to have raised Billy. Do you think there's even a chance that Juanita, when Billy was younger, had not maybe tried to nurse Billy, but had done something that made her so attracted to Billy?
I thought you were going to take this in a different direction. I thought you were going to ask whether Brian lets her get away with it because he did something with her back in the day or continues to do something with her. Does she?
Do they have a history?
I don't think she'd be flirting with him that much if they did have a history. God, this is going to sound so old fashioned to me, but I think it's just good old fashioned flirtation that doesn't mean anything. And I'll tell you, Big D, this happened to me at the office this week when they're having like an office lunch and inviting everybody in. They send a little like survey monkey out, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, are you going to be there for lunch? And if so, like, do you have any dietary restrictions, et cetera? And I always like to put little messages in the dietary restrictions. So this week I eat everything. I'm a chunky boy. And when I got there, the office manager was like, well, Gene, we got plenty of extra Greek food. And you say you're a chunky boy. And then she put her hands between my rib cage and my hips, like right on my waist, and like smoothed around from belly button to the small of my back. And I was like,
I respect that. Yeah. It's not appropriate, but like Juanita, she took her shot.
Yeah.
And what'd you do? Did you giggle or did you run to HR?
That's what I did. Yeah, I just said, Went home, told Sarah about it. I was so flattered.
Oh,
I felt so good about myself the
chunky
rest
boy.
of the day. Yeah. And so for next week's on Monday, we get another one. And I just put down, I am no man. I am a bottomless pit. Let's see what happens.
You're living dangerously.
But I got to admit, Big D, as much as I enjoyed Juanita, there's one line that she delivers that mentally scarred me as a child. She asks Billy when he feels down. She's like, you want me to take my shirt off? And he declines. And then she says, well, the offer is on the table. And 15-year-old Gene Lyons immediately imagined Juanita's giant old boobs on the kitchen counter, like literally flopping on the table. And that image is seared into my memory like a picture. It still gives me the willies.
But he giggles like Gene Lyons being molested at a company lunch. He's like, hee, stop it. No, you know, she was bathing him as a child with those big titties. He liked it. And she's trying to make him feel good. And Juanita, yes, it's an HR nightmare, but good for her. You go, Juanita.
While we're on the topic of abuse, Big D, I don't know if it's because I'm a dad now or in spite of the fact that I'm a dad now, but I don't remember laughing this hard at the dodgeball scene when I was a kid. As an adult, this is the hardest I laughed in the entire movie. There is something special about watching kids get absolutely owned at games that are easy for adults, whether it's basketball and just blocking their shots, whether it's dodgeball and just nailing them with the dodgeball. There's one kid in this movie, watch it. He takes one directly to the face. And it looks like Adam Sandler is not holding back. He is whipping those balls at the children. According to the internet, the film's editors had to work around the footage of the kids crying from the impact of the dodgeball hitting them. And I would pay good money. I would pay $10 out of pocket right now for a download of just the outtakes of kids crying after getting hit with the dodgeball.
Have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit with Peyton Manning, where it's Peyton Manning doing like a charity work about how, it was similar to Kingpin with Ernie McCracken taking care of the single moms. Peyton Manning, you could see, was throwing like an inflatable, like a balloon, when he'd be like 55 razor, and he'd hit the kid in the head. Billy Madison, Adam Sandler, is throwing a regulation dodgeball. Emma in this scene, she looked on a mix of horror. And then when the kid got hit in the face, she's like, in the face. She loved it. And I think kids need dodgeball. Just like the other day I said, everybody needs to get hit in the face to learn what to say and what not to say. A dodgeball. What's the worst that could happen? Because you're younger than I am. Did you play full-on dodgeball?
Yes. In Iranian culture, we have a thing called Sizdavadar, and it's 13 days after the Persian New Year. Everyone goes to the park like for a huge-ass picnic. In Fountain Hills, Arizona, there's like I don't know what you call it at a park, but essentially it's a ravine. And it all fills up with grass. It's beautifully like manicured, very soft. So what they would do, it's almost like an Aztec ritual, man. They would line up people on both sides of this like pit, and then the kids would all get in the middle. And they would just whip the dodgeball at you. But as Iranians, like nobody had a dodgeball in hand. It was a soccer ball. And so we would play this for hours, and you would come home, black eye, busted nose, whatever. But it was my favorite day of the year. My mom would be so upset that I was getting fucked up. But every year, the adults would come collect all the kids from all the picnic sites. Like, all right, into the pit with you.
Yeah, it's like I told Emma, we watched the documentary on Action Park.
Oh, shit, yes.
I was lucky enough to go to Action Park as a kid. You wore those scrapes, those bloody knees. The injuries is like a badge of honor. You showed up to school on Monday and you said, hey, I went to Action Park. Kids were like, wow, let me see. What'd you do? Anybody die? And you'd, of course, elaborate. Like, oh, I saw an ambulance and something was going on. But I don't know. It's a mix. Are we just crying for the old days as old men, or is what happened to us, was it not a great thing that we're just trying to justify today?
I think there's a balance there. Nobody should be forced to do it. If there's a kid that doesn't want to play, they don't have to. But for those of us who had that sick gene that wanted to get in there and do it, tackle football after school. I don't think kids do that anymore. But that was, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, all the way until I played football, like at the junior high and then high school level. We didn't have pads. We went after school. We went on the hill. We played. And you got fucked up. And like, do I understand now as an adult why my mom was mad that I'd come home with like broken bones and stuff? Yes. Do I regret doing it? Absolutely not. It was one of the best times of my life.
I remember getting a concussion. Now I know it's a concussion.
Got your clock cleaned.
Yes, I went home. I didn't know why I was dizzy and I was vomiting. And, my parents just said, hey, go to bed. I survived.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm fine.
Spent a couple years jumping out of airplanes, making all kinds of good decisions.
A lot of good decisions.
Billy's rapid academic progress alarms Eric, who learns elementary school principal Max Anderson was once the professional wrestler called the Revolting Blob, who accidentally killed an opponent in the ring. Eric uses this knowledge to blackmail Max into falsely claiming that Billy bribed him. As a result, Brian cancels the agreement and reinstates Eric as his successor. Discouraged, Billy drops out of school, but Veronica and his former classmates convince him to return. Max later confesses the truth, and Brian allows Billy to resume the challenge. When Eric objects, Billy proposes an academic decathlon to settle the matter.
So now is where the film starts to get on a roll, and we start to see the heart of it. Every Sandler film, there is a heart. It's, of course, Adam Sandler's character that we start to feel for, but it's the group around them. And in here, the unexpected strength for me is Billy bonding with the kids, the third grade class, and all the kids as he meets them going up. They're so cute. And these kids are always the best. And now as a dad, Gene, I know you're kindergarten cop. You'd probably go back there and you would just hoot and holler and you would just love these little kids. Kids are so cute. They're so innocent. Even though they're actors, there's a genuine delivery with the lines. And as Billy's making the friendship with these kids that he never had as an adult, and it starts to ground him, and there's something that comes out of him that's genuine instead of this privileged little man-child. Then he gets to high school, and suddenly he thinks he's going to be the big shit on campus. He comes rolling in that Thunderbird or that Firebird, that black, Smokey and the Bandit. He rolls up wearing his REO Speedwagon t-shirt, blaring music, and he struggles. He falls right on his face. The environment he used to succeed, now he sees that it wasn't genuine, and he's put into a situation where he goes back to the heart, those little kids, and he's trying to solve life. This adult man going to these third grade kids for guidance in his life, and it's unexpectedly connecting for me emotionally.
Big D, you're totally right about the appreciation of kids. I think I have a newfound appreciation of children. I'm not saying that I wish I had kids younger, but I could have spent more of my life really understanding what they are and like how amazing they are. I watch my daughter. She's still trying to get like control of her nervous system. You're watching babies, they're just twitching and shit. You're like, you haven't even figured that out yet. Probably going to be around on this planet 50 years after I'm gone. And just how cool is that? Like the potential. This is all brand new for you. You get to start totally fresh. But there's always been a guy in this movie that was my absolute favorite. There's a little guy dancing on the desk when the substitute teacher day, when Max comes in to teach, and the camera's panning and all the kids are supposed to, they probably give him the direction of like, just get crazy, right? Come on, kids, we're going to roll a camera and get crazy. And there's one little guy and he's just standing on a desk and he's like doing the twist. And he looks so goddamn happy. I remember as a 15-year-old being like, that kid is rad. And I'm going to say it again, according to the internet, these kids really loved Adam Sandler. The word is that between takes, they were crawling all over him. He was having a good time. And you can really tell, I think, even the kids that were getting beamed with the dodgeball, they were having a lot of fun making this movie. And we've said it time and time again that you can feel when you're watching a film, when people are genuinely having a good time, it comes across and through the screen.
And I think that's something you can't fake. Kids and dogs can sense mean people. I believe that generally Adam Sandler, from all that we've seen in the years, seems to be a genuine good guy. Seems to not like play up his celebrity. There was that whole, he showed up to like a pancake house, an IHOP, and couldn't get seated. And then they realized who he was. And people were shocked that he didn't like throw a fit, that he didn't get seated. And he came back the next day being a regular guy. And it seems that's why people love him. And I'm not surprised his kids liked him.
David Spade, on the other hand, a native Arizonan, is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, well, I think that's played out. We've seen that.
I'm kidding. No, he's just David Spade. He's not an asshole. He's just the guy you see on screen. That's him. That's him. Big D, I do have one complaint about this movie, though, and it's about Veronica Vaughn. Don't get me wrong. She's a smoke show. Absolutely gorgeous. I think she looked so different in Billy Madison than she did in Mortal Kombat. Yes, I know it's a totally different character, but like in Mortal Kombat, I was like, I don't get the sex appeal of Sonya Blade. I get the sex appeal of Veronica Vaughn, but I want to know why men write so many desperate teacher characters. It's become a trope now, as we've done so many 80s and 90s movies. In the past few months alone, we've seen this on Hoosiers, Best of the Best 3, No Turning Back. And now Billy Madison. Veronica Vaughn is an incredibly attractive woman. She's got a nice ass house. She's a competent teacher. And she gets groped by Billy. They're not even dating at this point. They're on the bus. He grabs her boob. He is her student. And she decides to date him anyway. And I use the term date loosely. He doesn't actually even take her on a real date. She's just like, oh, I guess I love you, Billy. Then he shows up drunk to her house with his friends. And her response is not to say, hey, this guy's an alcoholic loser piece of shit that I thought he was. I'm going to whip him back into shape. I'm going to show up in his house, beat him up in the fountain, strip quiz him, and then inspire him in the end to be an educator. And I got to ask, like, are there no other adult men in the entire state for her to go after? Billy's the best she could do.
Well, I think teachers are almost like the acceptable way to do babysitter porn. Teachers are normally like an authority figure. They're usually, if you think of even Van Halen's Hot for Teacher, it's the reserved teacher, the librarian, who when they take the glasses off and the hair comes down, it's this erotic young boy's fantasy about an older woman taking advantage of them. And in a movie, you can't do that. You know, there's a limit to doing babysitter interactions. Here, a school teacher, that's every loser's dream. The hot teacher who loves shaping minds is going to come shape me into a man.
I guess there's nowhere else they could have really inserted that character either. Like, you can't have it be the maid. That would be a big problem. You don't really want it to be any of the kids' moms. I mean, I guess that would kind of be more acceptable.
Why not the tissue queen or whatever her name was? I thought that was a decent option. The phlegm queen?
I thought that was Madonna at first.
You know, that would have been a nightmare. Can you imagine being in a relationship with that woman? You could tell that would be dynamite.
No. I might have been.
That would have been, the police would have been called. You know, her husband is probably in prison and she's going to pit you against other guys. It would have been bad for Billy.
After a series of competitive events, Billy takes a narrow lead. In the final round, a Jeopardy-style quiz, Eric selects Reflections of Society in Literature for Billy's final category. Billy fumbles his answer, but selects Business Ethics for Eric's final category. Unable to respond, Eric suffers a breakdown, pulls a gun on Billy, and is stopped by Max, who dons his revolting blob costume and attacks him. Eric then attempts to harm Veronica, but he's shot by Danny McGrath, played by Steve Buscemi, a former classmate Billy once bullied and later apologized to.
You earlier said that you could remember the opening scene, the lines verbatim. I misremembered this entire part of the film.
Okay.
I was thinking back to school where Rodney Dangerfield had to sit down in front of like a group of teachers, the faculty, and he would go from teacher to teacher to teacher. He would have to demonstrate what he had known. And I think this is a lost opportunity in the film that maybe they just couldn't come up with the more original ideas. The academic decathlon, this had potential. This could have been the pinnacle where Billy could have shown what he'd gone through. Instead, random skits like baking a pie. We didn't even see Billy in home ec. The school play, I think there was, what else did they do? What was some of the other ridiculous?
Chemistry, make a boot.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He made the boot in chemistry.
Play the clarinet.
It's so dumb. Why not, Billy, watch him struggling through the actual core curriculum. Algebra. We saw the chemistry, but not making boots. Have a point where he can start to show that he's developed and grown. He actually learned, like Rodney Dangerfield. Show that Eric isn't just a shitbag heel who doesn't know about business ethics. Have him be a competent rival for Billy. Get the teachers involved, have them on stage, have a scoreboard, have it something that we almost like Revenge of the Nerds. We can follow Billy as he develops and for the first time sees in himself, I'm deserving of taking on the company. I'm deserving of the respect of my father. I'm not a screw up. I have potential. Carl sees it in me. Did you want more?
Well, I wanted academic decathlon for sure, which this is not it. I don't know if people out there have competed in academic decathlon. I was a huge nerd, so I did Acadeca, and I also did Science Olympiad, right? And in Acadeca, you have written tests. They're tests on paper that you take as a team. And then there's an essay portion, a speech portion, an interview portion. Science Olympiad's a little bit different. It's you have your whole team and then you specialize in certain areas. My friend Troy and I were the anatomy guys. Like we did bio and anatomy. That was like our thing. We worked on certain other areas where you had to be the full team, but like that was our respective area. And so your school kind of sends their best and brightest, or in our case, nerdiest, to compete. When I heard academic decathlon, like you, Big D, I was kind of excited for that. That is not really what we got. But I am continually impressed with your dedication to structure and rules. I was more upset, honestly, that it looked like Eric was dusting Billy in like every subject. Yet somehow he was the one that was behind. I was like, he ran faster than he did. He can play an instrument better than he can. Clearly, he can do math better.
Shakespeare.
Well, Shakespeare in the pie. They made up for it with Billy failing horribly at that one like Jeopardy question when it left everyone in the room now dumber for having listened to it. Like we saw him stumble through academic questioning. Was this the strongest montage we've seen in film? No, but it was okay. And we did get math on the chalkboard where he just wrote Eric drinks his own pee. And we did get history with that question about literature. And Billy was great at chemistry.
Was he, Gene? Was he? You're going to let the 6,100 employees of the Madison chain of hotels set their livelihood and their retirement in Billy's hands?
Well, Eric could be replacing them with AI, so Billy's the better choice. At graduation, Billy announces that he will not take over Madison Hotels. Instead, trusting the company to loyal operations manager, Crazy Carl Alphonse. Billy expresses his desire to go to college and pursue a teaching career, while a defeated and injured Eric watches in frustration.
Billy is a teacher. How's that going to go down, Gene?
I could do like first grade.
I can see that Billy is the idiot who doesn't realize what teachers make. He probably thinks like, teachers make lots of money. Ooh. No, Billy, they make like 30 grand.
He's going to be a music teacher.
There is no chance. There's no chance this idiot can stay sober. Yes, it sounds cute, Billy, that you're going to be a teacher. That is not going to happen. He's going to get arrested. Something's going to happen. But whatever, we'll forget about that. Why not have him go do like philanthropy? He's going to go support teachers. He's going to set up a foundation. Go do a charity. Help kids get into college. But Gene, this ending is coming. And I can feel you watching the screen because you love a big ensemble wrap-up. You want to see everybody come back together. Maybe it's your love of theater. It's your love of Broadway plays where everybody comes on stage and they take a bow. And Billy Madison delivers one in the possibly weirdest way. In a movie of non sequitur and weird scenes and weird interactions, we get we'll call it, I guess, this is a wrap-up ensemble where it's a kiss-a-thon. Everyone just starts kissing. Billy kisses Veronica. Chris Farley gets jerked off by a penguin. And you and I had this whole thing. Yes, he is jerking off Chris Farley, rubbing maybe with his little flipper, his penis against his belly. Juanita and the assassin. You get Norm Macdonald is kissing the sloppy Joe lady. You get the mucus queen who's making out with two young boys. I think they were freshmen. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's joyful. It's funny. I complain about the penguin. This I won't complain. I just laughed. Everybody's kissing. The music's swelling. And it's supposed to be this inspirational moment about Billy achieving something special. And it just goes out in this ridiculous makeout session. I loved it.
Billy, much like Buckaroo Banzai and Ed Wood, which we did recently, he builds up this whole cast of outcasts around himself and never leaves anyone behind. And Big D, you said maybe it's my love of theater. I think it's my obsession with my own mortality. What I would really, really like in the end is that all the friends and weird characters that I met along the way are just there at the end. Like, it was a good one. Thanks. And I feel like that when a movie ends. And
do you want us as like you're going to the tunnel of light? Would we be there to like high five you and to usher you?
Yeah. I think there's nothing more than a person can ask for in life than just for everyone to be there in the end. Nobody should have to die alone.
Right. So, Gene, whichever one of us dies first.
Yeah.
I would like that the other one would do a celebration of life. Get our random band of friends from the podcast and beyond to sit around and tell funny stories. Don't be sad. enjoy and celebrate our lives.
The King Bee has already made a point. Let's be real. Like, he's going to be the one that goes first. All he wants, and this is to spite his family, because of course he's the King Bee, is he just wants all the friends he's made along the way to be there and give long-winded speeches about him and his life, just so they know that, like, one, people cared about him, but also two, that he had friends that are smarter than his own family that can actually give speeches. So I will be there.
Would King Bee like it if I made up like a fake backstory about how,
oh my God, like Royal Tenenbaums? I think he'd love it.
How I admired King Bee for setting up, his charity, and when he traveled as a ministry, as a mission around the Southwest.
How he saved your life in Afghanistan.
Just stories about it. When he taught me to play the piano. Things that there's no way King Bee did.
Big D, rating this movie is going to be hard because it could be nearly perfect if Adam Sandler had just played Billy the way he played Happy Gilmore. His best moments, I think we agree, are when he acts like an adult who's just never had to try, rather than an idiot child who spontaneously just grows up. The Billy that I like is the guy that's talking to Chris Farley outside the bus. Or the guy that's like, you got to get off your ass and find that fucking dog.
Yes.
The guy who wants to do things to Veronica Vaughn with a 9-iron and some ice cubes, right? He's not dumb, which would also validate Brian, his dad, wanting to turn the company over to him. He's like, I know Billy's smart. That's not the problem. Billy just doesn't care. That Billy is kick-ass. But Billy in the bathtub singing with shampoo, like that kind of shit ruins the movie for me. And I just wonder if Adam Sandler, now that he's had that time to refine, now that he is a veteran actor, I wonder if he wishes he could get a do-over on this one. Because if I were in his shoes, I definitely would.
Agreed.
Now is the time in the podcast where we give our Shat scores for Billy Madison. The Shat scores are a way of telling you how many wipes this movie takes out of your respective butts. 0 wipes is a perfect movie. It's a day filled with daiquiris, Nintendo, and jack-off magazines. And 5 wipes is an absolute disaster of a movie. It's some more sloppy Joe. Big D, we'll start with you. What is your wipe score for Billy Madison?
So this is another one of those cases where I enjoyed the movie much more talking to you about it, and I'm left with a positive impression. But as I'm sitting here looking through his filmography, I can't help but holding them against each other, because I see, we got Billy Madison, then there was Happy Gilmore, then there was The Wedding Singer, even Dirty Work, Waterboy, Big Daddy. It's the one that is the weakest of the bunch. I have to go 1.75. It is the rawest, most predictable version of Adam Sandler. I don't think, obviously, the formula had worked out. Is it bad? No. It's 90 minutes of harmless fun, but it is enjoyable just to watch the bits and pieces that you could see the puzzle, slowly see the pieces of the puzzle coming together. So I got to go 1.75 wipes.
Big D, I'm right in the same zone as you. I think Adam Sandler is unbearable at times in this movie, but you have to admit this movie set up the blueprint for his follow-up films that refined on that formula and gave us some of the funniest movies I've ever seen. With a few tweaks, Charles Bronson in as Billy's dad, Bob Odenkirk as Eric, and Adam Sandler being the Adam Sandler we know he can be, rather than perhaps an Adam Sandler that was trying to attract that same Saturday Night Live audience, right? Bring along the people and show them something familiar that they'd seen on TV. I don't know if that's what he was trying to do, but it didn't really work. A movie that made those slight tweaks could have been a 0 wipe movie for sure. But I do appreciate the commission. Hot Sauce Steve, I'm coming in at 1.5 wipes. And Big D, with 1 3/4 wipes from you and 1.5 wipes from me, that gives us an average wipe score of 1.625 wipes for Billy Madison.
So, Jim, with that score, that now sits this alone in the 138 spot. Slightly better than Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Halloween 4, Drop Dead Gorgeous, and Friday. Slightly worse than Crush Groove, Stargate, Dutch, and Back to the Future Part 3. The Indiana Jones, I got to say, that was a you problem. The scoreboard here says
it's not a problem. It's accurate.
You gave it a 3.
Yeah. Temple of Doom was not great. Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic.
That was a 0 wipe. Yeah.
Temple of Doom, not a great movie.
So here's the question. I've already invited Emma to go further into the Adam Sandler catalog.
Uncut Gems?
No, that's next year. I'm thinking,
okay,
because she's not a big football fan, that Big Daddy's got a lot of heart. But then it's also the sad story of children, going through. I think he was in the foster system, wasn't he?
Yeah, that one's Frankenstein?
No, are you screwing with me?
No. The kid gets to dress himself and he decides
yes,
what his
yes.
name is, and he calls himself. He wants to be called Frankenstein.
Right. And I just remember that whole scene, like where Child Protective Services is there and them roller skating down. But
God, that sounds a lot heavier than I remember. Jesus Christ.
I mean, but it's got to be that. I can't do like Punch Drunk Love or Anger Management. 50 First Dates.
She's seen Wedding Singer?
She's not, but I remember that being some sexual scenes with the crazy girlfriend.
He wakes up with her at his place and she's wearing his t-shirt. I think that's about it.
Okay, I'll go with that. If there's some bare breasts, it's on you.
Write in. Let us know if it's child appropriate, everybody. And Big D can then go back in time and decide whether to watch it or not. All right, that's it for Billy Madison. Now on to some listener email. First one's about Ed Wood. It comes from listener Ken, who says, "Hey, Shat Crew, it's DJ Ken from Santa Rosa here, Commissioner of City Slickers. I just finished listening to your Ed Wood podcast. Your discussion about Ed Wood's filmmaking legacy sparked a childhood memory that I felt compelled to share. You mentioned how Tim Burton's film should have included some of the actual footage from Plan 9 from Outer Space so the viewer could experience what the final product of his work really looked like. It reminded me of a movie from the early 80s that I watched as a kid, and I thought you and your listeners might be curious enough to check it out. It was called It Came from Hollywood. If you had HBO in the early days, you remember it too. Released back in 1982, it was an early prototype of Mystery Science Theater 3000, a documentary of sorts that was a humorous homage and love letter to the schlocky, low-budget cinema of the 50s, with clips of those films and jokey narration poking fun at it all. They highlighted movies with titles like 1964's The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed-Up Zombies. The memory flooded in because there's an entire 8-minute section in It Came from Hollywood dedicated to Ed Wood, including highlights from Plan 9, as well as Wood's transvestite classic, Glenn or Glenda. Here's the catch. It Came from Hollywood is hosted and narrated by comic legends John Candy, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, and Cheech and Chong, all in their early 80s prime. Don't get me wrong, It Came from Hollywood isn't comic gold. I'm in the middle of a rewatch. It's available on YouTube, and it's not nearly as funny as I remembered it to be, but many of the wisecrack from this SNL-heavy crew are on point, and it's worth a watch for anyone who is inspired by your podcast to sample some of the worst crap ever put onto celluloid, but not enough to commit to watching an entire Ed Wood film. Plus, listening to John Candy gush over Plan 9 from Outer Space is worth the price of admission. If you're considering looking up on YouTube, be advised that I found two versions. One was ripped from a TV broadcast, which is interesting because it's the full broadcast, including 80s era TV commercials. However, the naughtier jokes are edited out for the TV audience. So I'd recommend the full unedited version. You don't want to miss Cheech stating, "This is screen history, man. It's the first time a man was eaten by a pussy." Anyway, keep up the good work, fellas. And if you ever make it to the San Francisco Bay Area, the microbrews are on me. That comes from our listener, Ken.
So, Ken, I was all on board until I looked up the poster. And the poster gives me some red flags. In giant letters across the top, it says, "We're going to make you laugh." Little font, with Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Cheech and Chong, Gilda Radner, and the girl who says to the gorilla, "Be gentle, big fella," the alien who demands Mars needs women, the evil scientist who says all of your Earth men are stupid, plus plenty of teenage lust, loads of crawling creatures, and lots of dirty parts. And then there's a black and white photo that looks like you just cut out the picture of Dan Aykroyd driving a motorcycle with a sidecar, and in the sidecar is John Candy, Cheech and Chong, Gilda Radner. I don't know. This looks like it's such a disaster. It looks like it would almost be funny.
Oh, okay, Big D. We got to think back to those times, though. A couple of things were at play. One, if you were going to see something in a theater, that was your hard-earned dollars. Those were hard times. It was Reaganomics. You had to make a decision about where you're going to spend your money. And so you needed to know the whole thing before you went and invested in it. And if you're watching something on TV, you couldn't record it. We're spoiled now with streaming, where we can kind of sample this, sample that, see if it's worth watching, whatever. Back then, you had to catch it during its broadcast time, during its time slot. And so are you going to set aside that Sunday night to watch It Came from Hollywood? I want to know who's in it. I want to know what they say.
I like it.
I need all the details.
Okay.
People did research back then. They didn't just go into things. There was no suggested for you might like. It was a different time, man. But it's also probably not that great.
It sounds like it's a little dirty. The lusty teenagers, the be gentle big fella.
Thanks, Ken, for the email. Next up, we have one from Lucas about Idle Hands. He says, "Gents, first, I haven't even gotten to the trailer portion, but here I am. Point one, Gene is entirely right. Why would you need another magazine if you're doing normal shit? I would ask why you'd even have an AR for self-defense, but I understand bores. 2, I was in the Army for 20 years, so neither of you tough boys are out shooting me at a range. Get real. Doesn't matter what we're shooting. You're amateurs. 3, when I saw this was your movie, meaning Idle Hands, I lost my shit. This was an iconic movie for me, even though in a recent rewatching, it was kind of bad. And point 4, I probably should have waited to hear your review and see if you agree. Like, I'm still writing the email. I can stop and listen, but it's more fun to just send away. And that comes from Lucas.
I'm willing to concede to Lucas. Lucas, I haven't shot at a distance in quite a long time. I don't hunt. I'm more concerned with getting somebody maybe like 15 feet away or somebody coming through the door. That's more my lane. But Gene goes out into the desert and shoots at shit all the time. I think Gene would be a good match for you.
I don't know. It's my problem is the tactical shooting, right? I'm still very new to that. Like plinking, setting up targets and stuff. I've been doing that for years, but I've recently gotten into the tactical stuff, the sprinting, the mag swaps, stuff like that, where it, under pressure, things change quite a bit. And I've been doing like the El Presidente drill and the Mozambique drills and stuff like that. So I don't know if they do that stuff in the Army, but I would never put myself up again. Even like the most basic Army marksman, I'm not doing well there. As for the AR for self-defense, though, make no mistake here, Lucas. I'm not talking about the AR like I'm going to pull it out of my car and defend myself. This is more when I'm doing a shelter in place. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's when the AR is going to come in handy.
I would love to challenge you to like a police academy, like a Tackleberry.
Yeah.
It's not the, like you're talking about, where it's the real tactical shooting. It's more the walking down Main Street. You get the pop-up targets, and you have to actually target acquisition, decide who to shoot. I think that would be fun, but I would get destroyed in the other tactical stuff.
Do you remember Cynthia, who officiated my wedding?
Yes.
We had a party in early November, and it was called the Black Celebration. You couldn't make it because air traffic got all fucked up because the government shut down. The King Bee came over and saw that Cynthia, as her costume for the Black Celebration, had dressed as one of my cousins. So she had, with a marker drawn on, her daughter drew on like a beard for her and chest hair. The King Bee's vision has gotten so poor that he thought that Cynthia was transitioning. Cynthia being a lesbian, and didn't realize until later when he got up close to her that, oh, no, it was just drawn on with a marker.
Is that his vision, or was he drunk? Was he high?
That's his vision.
That's scary.
First of all, he doesn't do drugs, and second, he barely drinks. And yet this man handles firearms.
Wow.
Copious amounts of firearms.
Yeah, I want to see him on the stand. This man was coming through my window. There was Gene's wedding aficionado, or his I don't know if she was a pastor or whatever. No, that was not a man coming through your window, King.
Well, Lucas, I hope that you listened through the entire episode of Idle Hands and agreed with me and not Big D that it is a fantastic film and worthy of being in the Halloween rotation. Big D, I had a question for you. Mm-hmm. So we have another party coming up very soon called Drink the Dragon, in which we are going to take a glass dragon full of scotch that Sarah's had for years, and we're going to drink it among our friends while we have a chili con carnage chili bar, and we watch Enter the Dragon, and people dress in drag, except for the children can be dressed as dragons. It's a concept party. Okay. But I realized just yesterday that Enter the Dragon isn't 4 hours long. So we have to put on another dragon movie during this party. And in my head, I came up with How to Train Your Dragon would be a good one. But then I thought a little bit deeper than that. I thought, do you remember Reign of Fire? Where it was like the helicopters and dragons?
Oh, yeah. That was Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale.
And then I thought a step further than that. And I thought, well, there was also the Luck Dragon in Neverending Story. In addition to Enter the Dragon, which to me I have to do, what's the other dragon movie that we show during the dragon party?
Wasn't there a dragon in The Golden Child? The Eddie Murphy comedy?
I thought it was like a snake lady.
Yeah, she turned the snake lady or a dragon. No, okay.
It's got to be children appropriate, though.
Oh, children appropriate.
Yeah.
And the never-ending story, that's not a real dragon.
It's a luck dragon.
I mean, we did How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
I think it's something you can have on and anybody could just like sit down and be like, oh yeah, cool.
Toothless is so damn cute. All the characters.
But I feel like not enough people have seen Reign of Fire, though. And it's like truly bad.
But there's not many dragons. You know, it's a lot of them brooding and going around in the castle. And then the dragons attack and they're flying the helicopters. But the dragons aren't like really in it that much.
You know, John's probably going to be at the party. We could just do Dungeons and Dragons starring Jeremy Irons. There's lots of dragons in that one.
Way too many dragons. Way too many
dragons. All right, Lucas, thank you so much for your email. Thank you to everyone who wrote in. If you'd like to write in, you could write in at host@shatpod.com or use the SpeakPipe feature anywhere on shatpod.com. Big D, what do we have coming up next week?
Gene, next week, young history buff Kevin can scarcely believe when 6 dwarves emerge from his closet one night. They've stolen a map charting all the holes in the fabric of time and are using it to steal treasures, taking Kevin with them. They variously drop in on Napoleon, Robin Hood, and King Agamemnon before the Supreme Being catches up with them. Commissioned by Mark L., came out in 1981. This is a Terry Gilliam classic, and I've never seen this.
I have not seen it either. I'm excited for this one.
Ooh.
I get this one mixed up all the time. The Ice Pirates. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you, Mark, for commissioning our upcoming film. Thank you, Hot Sauce Steve, for commissioning Billy Madison. Thank you to all the commissioners who make this podcast possible. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shat The Movies. You can email us, host@shatpod.com. Support the podcast by shopping our Amazon affiliate link, buying our merch, or by commissioning your own movie. Find all that information by visiting our website, shatpod.com. Also, check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV. Review TV series such as Lovecraft Country, Westworld, True Detective, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, and Watchmen. Find all information on our website, shatpod.com/TV, wherever we find podcasts to be found, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. And if you stop by Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. It helps the podcast grow. On behalf of my co-host, Big D, I'm Gene Lyons. Join us next time for the following movie.
Former Beatle George Harrison brings together John Cleese, Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, Katherine Hellman, Michael Palin, 6 little people, 1 little boy, 2 living gargoyles, a giant, an ogre, Napoleon, Robin Hood, a supreme being, an incarnation of evil, 12 cowboys, 6 flying cowheads, and a device for tripping through time? Answer, Time Bandits. Rated PG.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, 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 very much.
The fantasy begins Friday, November 6th at a theater near you.